poetry bound. No. And my poetry bound paper is going to fly. But I'll share with you some longer pieces before the official event starts. Because everything was live and dying. From the book, Chapter 38, Volume 1. I had a dream the other night. I walked out of the city to a forest, and there were neatly paved bicycle paths and trash cans every 50 feet and trash every 10. And then a raccoon came right up to me. She had a few little baby raccoons following her. It was so cute. I wish I had my camera. And she spoke to me, and she said, "Thank you. Thank you for not buying furs. I know you humans are pretty smart. You've got to be able to figure out a way to keep yourselves warm without killing me." And I said, "You know they don't do it for warmth. They do it for fashion. They do it for power." And she said, "I know, but thank you anyway." And then I walked a little farther, and there was a stray cat. She still had a little neon collar on with a little bell. And she walked a few feet, and she stretched her front paws. Oh, she looked so darling. And then she walked right up to me, and she said, "Thank you." And I said, "For what?" And she just looked at me for a moment. Her little ears were standing straight up. And she said, "You know, in some countries, in some countries, I'm considered a delicacy." And I said, how do you know of these things?" And she said, "When someone eats one of you, word gets around." And then she looked at me for a second, and then she said, "And in some countries, the cow is sacred. Would they love to see how you humans prepare them for slaughter, how you hang them upside down and slit their throats, so their still beating hearts will drain out all the blood for you?" And she said, "Isn't it funny how arbitrary your decision to eat meat is?" And I said, "No, don't put me in that category. I don't eat meat." And she said, "I know." And then I walked deeper into the forest, managed to get away from the picnic tables and the outhouses that lined the forest edges. The roaring cars gave way to the rustling of tree branches, crackling of fallen leaves under my step. When the wind tunneled through, the wind whistled and sang as it flew past the bark and leaves. I walked, listened to the crack of dead branches under my feet, and I felt a branch against my shoulder. And I looked up, and I could hear the trees speak to me. And they said, "Thank you for letting the endangered animals live here amongst us. We do think they are so pretty, and it would be a shame to see them go." And she also said, "Thank you for using recycled paper because you're saving us for just a little while longer. We've been on this earth for so long, embedded in the earth. We do have souls, you know. We cling with our roots. We don't want to let go." And I said, "But I don't do much. I don't do enough." And they said, "We know, but we'll take what we can get." And I woke up in a sweat. So tell me, Bob Dole, so tell me Newt Gingrich, so tell me Pat Buchanan, so tell me Jesse Helms, if you woke up from that dream, would you be in a sweat too? Do you even know why we should preserve the rainforest? Oh, just tear the whole forest down. What difference does it make? Put in some orange groves so our concentrate orange juice can be a little cheaper. Did you know that medical researchers have a very, very hard time trying to come up with synthetic cures for diseases on their own? It first helps them out if they can find that substance in nature. And a tree in a rainforest with a cure may be the only one of its species, or one like it might be 2 miles away from it instead of right next to it. I wonder how many cures we've destroyed to save more, we can plant more orange groves. Serves us right. You know, my motives aren't selfless. I know that these things are worthwhile in my life. I'd like to find a cure to these diseases before I die of them. And I'm not just a vegetarian because I think it's wrong to kill an animal unless I have to. I also know the excess protein pulls the calcium away from my bones and gives me osteoporosis. And I know that we could be feeding 10, 17 times more people with the same resources used for meat production. I know, you're looking at me and calling me an extremist, but I was sitting here, looking around me, looking at all the destruction caused by family values, and thinking that the right, moral, non-violent decisions are also those extreme ones. Everything is linked here. We destroy our animals so we can be wasteful and violent. We destroy our plants. We destroy our earth. We're even destroying our air. We wreak havoc on the soil, on the atmosphere. We dump our waste into our lakes. We pump aerosol cans and exhaust pipes. And you tell me that I'm extreme. And all these animals and forests keep calling out to me. The oceans, the wind. And I'm beginning to think that we got to keep doing it because we don't know how to stop. And deep inside we feel the pain of all that we've killed, and we try to control it by popping a chemical-filled painkiller. And we live through the guilt by taking caffeine, nicotine, morphine, and we keep ourselves thin with saccharin, and we keep ourselves sane with our alcohol poisoning. And when that's not enough, maybe a line of coke. Maybe shoot ourselves in the head in front of the mirror in the master bedroom. Or maybe we'll just take some pills, walk out to the garage, turn on the car, and just fall asleep. In the wild, you have no power over anyone else. Now that we're civilized, we create our own wild. Well, maybe when we have all this power, the only choice we have is to destroy ourselves. And so we do. I know you're nodding no at me for that one. I figured I'm early for this, so I was going to read a couple long pieces at the beginning because we've got the time to kill, and I'm not going to, and I don't have any poems of yours to read, and you're not going to read.
I'm going to read it.
Give it to John, and he'll read it if you've got the hard copy.
I'll make it up.
I still have 15 minutes before it technically starts, so I'm going to do this other long one. Why not? And it's called Communication. Long one, be ready. Dun, dun, dun. Now that we have the information superhighway, we can throw out into the open our screams, our cries for help so much faster than we could before. Our pleas become computer blips, tiny bits of energy traveling through razor-thin wire, traveling through space, to be left for someone to decipher when they find the time. Got into work the other day, and I got my messages on my voicemail. Mike left me his pager number, and he told me to contact him with some information. Another Mike told me to call him at his office between 10:30 and noon. Lori told me to check my email because she sent me some messages I had to read. So I first returned Mike's phone call, and he wasn't even there, so I left a message with a coworker. And then I dialed the number for Mike's pager, listened to a beep, dialed the number of my own phone number, and then I got in line, I checked my email, I read a note from Ben, emptied out my junk mail. Realizing that I hadn't actually gotten a hold of anybody, I tried to call my friend Sherry, but I got her answering machine, so I said, "Hi, it's me, Janet. Haven't talked to you in a while." At which point I realized there was nothing left for me to say. "So, give me a call. We should really get together and talk." Sarah and I were late for Carol's wedding rehearsal, which was an important thing because we were both bridesmaids and we were standing up at this wedding, and so we were stuck in traffic, and I said, "Hey, Sarah, do you know Carol's cell phone number?" And she said, "Well, yeah, do you have it?" Yeah, and she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, do you know Carol's cell phone number? And we could actually call her and tell her we'll be late." And she said, "No." "Do you know it?" And I said, "No." So I was at a bar with Dave, and I was explaining to him why I had lost my contacts with a friend of mine, Aaron, and I hadn't spoken to him in a while. Quote, "You see, we usually email each other, and when we do, we just hit reply. And when you get an email from somebody, instead of having to actually start a new letter, you can just hit reply and the email address, and you can just send a message back to them. Well, one of us would send a letter back, and it would have a question at the end. So we hit reply and sent a response with another question at the end of the letter. So we kept having to answer each other with another question. And we just kept replying to each other, sending each other the same title back and forth to each other. Well, once I got an email from him that didn't have a question at the end. So I didn't have to send him a response. So I didn't. And we never thought to start a new email with each other. And we just lost touch. And then it occurred to me how difficult it had become to type an extra line of text, because that is why I lost touch with him. And then it occurred to me, no matter how many different forms of communication we have, we'll still find a way to lose touch with each other. Now that we have the information superhighway, we can throw out into the open our screams, our cries for help so much faster than we could before. But what if we don't want to communicate? Or forget how? Too busy leaving messages, voicemails, emails, pager numbers, forgetting to call back. What if we forget how to communicate? I wanted to get in touch. I wanted to get tickets for a concert, but I was shopping with my sister and I wasn't near a ticket outlet. But my sister said, "Oh, I've got a portable phone. You can just call from here if you'd like." So she gave me the phone and I looked at it with all these extra buttons and she said, "Just press the power button, but hold it down for at least 4 seconds and then wait for panels to light up. And then dial the number, but you have to use the area code because this is a 630 area code. And then press send. And when you're done with the phone call, you have to press end and make sure the lights turn on." So I turned it on, dialed the number, pressed send, pressed my head against the tiny phone, and the line was busy, and I couldn't get through. Wanted to get in touch with an old friend of mine from high school, Vince, but the last I heard is he went to Marquette University. Well, that was 5 years ago, where he could be anywhere. I talked to a friend or two that knew him, and they said they lost touch with him too. So I searched on the internet to see if his name was on any web pages or if he had an email address. He didn't. So I figured I probably wouldn't find him. And all this time, I knew his parents lived in the same house they always did. I could just look up his parents' phone number in the phone book and give him a call and say, "Hi, I'm an old friend of Vince's from high school." But I never did. And then I realized why. Because, you see, I could search the internet for hours and no one would know that I was looking for someone. But now, with a single phone call, I'd make it known to his entire family that I wanted to see him enough to call after all these years. And I didn't want him to know that, so I never called. Now that we have the information superhighway, we can throw out in the open our screams, our cries for help so much faster than we could before. But then the question begs itself, who is there to listen? Thank you. We got a little early time. We'll see if there are other people that will come around. And everybody's got these